What's going on, everybody? It is Monday, January 10th. The Steelers are going to the playoffs. What the heck? We got a special guest with us today. It is H&J Talk Sports. Let's go.
Here we go.
The Steelers will never be last in the league in running again.
It's a good time to get hot.
Holy crap, guys. That's pretty cool.
And a Rabu.
Najee Harris, running back, first round. I think the Steelers will target him. Welcome back, everybody. It's H&J Talk Sports, your favorite podcast for everything Steelers, West Virginia Penguins, and whatever we want to talk about. I'm half of your host, Joe, and today, a very special guest, a man that needs no introduction, the yin to my yang, Harry. Harry, welcome back.
What's going on? It's been a while.
It's been a while, Harry.
And we finally got something to celebrate.
To celebrate what we can, because next week the Steelers play Kansas City, but you know what? Who cares right now? Who cares? Let's get into it. Let's not even mess around today. Hey, if you're new here, go hit the subscribe button, like, comment on all the videos. Go binge watch all our videos, because why the hell not? Welcome. Steelers, somehow, with a 10% chance to make the playoffs, pulled it off yesterday. The unlikeliest of the scenarios of them not getting in was the Jaguars winning, which was actually the easiest thing that happened yesterday.
Well, I think the most unlikely was the tie, and that almost happened.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The most unlikely was the tie. Well, yeah. But the thing I expected to go wrong, I think what we all expected to go wrong, was the Jaguars, of course, not beating the Colts, because that was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the Jags beating the Colts was pretty unlikely, but
ridiculous. And that was the only one that was a sure thing. They blew them out early. That game wasn't even close. It was the Steelers that had to pull off the OT win against the Ravens.
Yeah.
And then after that, after Mike Tomlin was dancing in the locker room on TikTok or Instagram or whatever it was, which never happens after a win, Steelers almost didn't make it, because somehow, I think, what did you tell me yesterday? It was like 1 out of 200 something games this year went to a tie. Something ridiculous.
I got that number. I had it yesterday. There are 272 games in the regular season this year, with 17 games each, and only one had ended in a tie, which is like 0.3%.
So the most unlikely scenario, and it comes down to 2 seconds in overtime. And we're almost not in it. 2 seconds.
We got lucky. The Raiders felt like kicking the ball at the end.
Well, it's funny because you were saying that we'll probably kneel it last night.
Well, they ran the ball on that third down.
Well, from what I understand, though, the Chargers' decision to call that timeout changed the Raiders' mind. Their plan was to run the clock and kneel it, and when the Chargers called the timeout to stop the clock, they decided to go for it. So the Chargers screwed themselves.
We got lucky, because if he gets stopped, because they were like near the 40. I think if he doesn't get that first down, they probably don't kick it.
If they don't get the first down, it's over. When he got the first down and in field goal range, I almost breathed a sigh of relief. They're gonna kick. They gotta kick it now.
Yeah.
At worst case, you miss it and you tie, right? But that first down was huge.
I didn't like going to overtime, because I don't know, overtime's so quick now.
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes, and it feels like
it flies.
Each team gets one possession, and it's just hard. And as it kept getting later and later in the game, I was like, oh man, this isn't looking good, because there's no sense of urgency for whoever's last.
Even Collinsworth was saying it the whole game, and Steelers fans were mad as shit at him. He was saying the whole game, they just need to take a knee and tie it. That would be the smartest thing to do here for everybody.
Probably was the safest.
It was the safest. But at the end of the day, too, as a competitor, I mean, that's probably the safest. If you're the coach or the owner, especially the owner, you're like, take the knee, right? You want to get, your only job's to get into the playoffs. Players don't want to do that. Yeah. No player on that field wants that game to end in a tie.
I mean, you can't risk playing for a tie and then the other team scoring at the end and beating
Yeah.
you and knocking you out of the playoffs. One thing if you're already guaranteed to be in, but if you have to have a tie or a win, you can't play for that. I mean, the Chargers had how many fourth downs there at the end of the game to get back. So they definitely weren't playing for the tie.
It just came like of all the unlucky stuff to go wrong for the Steelers. It was so close. I never thought that game would become that close. But they did it. And now our reward is seeing Kansas City next Sunday.
Well, hopefully, I don't know. I've seen crazier things.
We'll get into Kansas City in a second. First, I want to go. I mean, the season's over. First off, TJ Watt ties the NFL sack record. He actually broke it, but they took away a sack. So they're trying to get that back. And I guess they're going to review it this week and see if he actually got the sack to break it. That's amazing. I mean, what a season he's had in a year that the defense have actually been horrible, surprisingly. TJ Watt.
Yeah, he was killing. I mean, he had 4 sacks, 5 sacks, 4 sacks, I think, against
the Browns.
And he missed games this year too.
Missed 2 games.
So you can't say, like because of the longer season.
Yeah. Najee Harris. Before this season, we predicted how he would do. I can't remember our exact predictions, but I think we both predicted he'd have over 1,000 yards rushing. And he ended the season with 1,200 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, 74 receptions, 467 receiving yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, I think he was probably your best offensive player.
Easily. Without Najee, this team is not in the playoffs, and who knows what's going on.
I think the only other person you could probably make a case for, maybe Deontay Johnson, but I think Najee touched the ball more. Was more. Definitely helped. It was nice having a running back. He's got good potential for the future.
I mean, we saw briefly in the Ravens game when he was injured and he missed. They couldn't do anything. If he didn't come back in that game, it might have not been a win.
Yeah. He's durable.
Durable. I don't want him to be too durable. I think the Steelers this year definitely need to get a competent backup running back.
Yeah,
he's young, but you don't want to run him into the ground here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the way the offense has been, sometimes there's not a lot of options. I mean, he's catching the ball a lot.
Yeah,
I think I saw some stat that he was, I don't know, one of maybe like, I forget. I shouldn't even mention that. I think he was like top 4 in receptions for rookies, all rookies.
Yeah, I saw something similar. I can't remember exactly.
So
he's got a lot of all rookie records, and I mean, he broke the Steelers. What's his name? Oh my God, I'm gonna get lit up in the comments now. But he broke the Steelers rushing by rookie record this year. He's got more yards than any Steelers rookie. This is the guy, and that's behind one of the worst O-lines we've seen in Pittsburgh in decades.
Yeah.
Let's not.
I mean, that's why he's been catching so many passes. They're getting him the ball.
Yeah, you got to. Let's go over, man. The Steelers season is wrapped. We made predictions before the season started. How do you think you did, Harry? Don't pull it up. Look at me. How'd you do?
Nah, I have it right here, and I know I was pretty close.
You were right, pretty much. You said 9 wins, 9-8. Who would have predicted a tie? You were almost dead on.
And we finished 9-7-1. So
yep. I said 13-4. I don't know what I was smoking. One thing I did call, and I brought it up last show when you weren't here. I said the Steelers would not lose to the Browns this season, and they didn't.
Well, I thought we would lose to the Browns and beat the Bengals. Instead, I got it reverse.
The Bengals, I was completely wrong about. The Bengals owned us this year, but we beat the Browns. We swept them. We've swept the Ravens 2 years in a row now, and that's pretty.
Yeah. Browns, I don't know what their issue is. They got the talent to be really good, and they just.
Is Baker not the guy? I don't think Baker's been overhyped, man. He's got too many commercials. He's been sold to us as this guy that he's not. I don't think he's a guy, and I think that's a big problem.
The guy that's playing like like everybody wanted Baker to play is Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow is the guy. Baker Mayfield that everyone wanted, and
the Bengals are playing like the Bengals are dangerous. Bengals I think their 3 best players are under 25. I mean, you got Joe. They're going to be tough for a while.
They are. And in the
Jamar
past,
Chase,
we've been
Joe
able to
Mixon, Joe Burrow.
brush them off and say the Bengals will always bungle everything. The Bungles. I don't think that's this team. I would be scared to play them in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're tough. They kind of remind me of the old Steelers. Had all those good offensive players.
Yes.
Were dangerous for a while. It could be them.
But that said, in this terrible season, we've somehow finished half a point behind them. So,
yeah.
What are you going to do? Yeah. So Harry, almost dead on the records. Joe was way off. I said 13-4. They obviously didn't do that well. In hindsight, the games they actually lost, though, are against some pretty good teams, man. They lost against the Raiders, who made the playoffs, the Bengals, who are obviously good. They lost against Green Bay, correct? Where am I at?
Yeah.
They lost against Green Bay.
Lost to the Vikings, lost to
the
Raiders,
Vikings are one that's
Chargers.
Yeah. Good teams all in all. The only Kansas City, unfortunately, blew us out. That was a terrible game. We beat the Titans, who finished first. It's weird because we've lost to good teams. We've beaten some good teams. We obviously made the playoffs, but every game you watch the Steelers play looks terrible. So you're going into this game against Kansas City. Is there a chance?
Well, there's a chance. I think it's a bad matchup. I think the run defense has struggled this year. We were last in the league?
Yes.
And I think against Kansas City, the pass defense is a problem too, because you're playing probably the highest powered offense in the league. So I think you're going to struggle there also. I mean, it's a tough matchup. I think you're going to need some bad weather. It's going to be, I think the game's Sunday night.
Yep.
Hopefully it's cold. Hopefully it becomes a running game. Maybe you're going to need TJ Watt in the line and Hayward to go off and cause trouble. Otherwise, if Mahomes has the time, he's going to tear us apart. I mean, you've seen the recipe of beating the Chiefs is getting pressure on Mahomes.
You got to. We have to be in his face all game.
Like in the Super Bowl when that line was terrible and he had no time, they were terrible. But
yeah,
if he has time, he'll pick you apart. And that's going to be the key. You got a great defensive line. So you're going to have to get after him. That's the only chance you got.
One thing I know,
your offense isn't keeping up.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And that's the wide receivers have gotten worse as the seasons went on, unfortunately. Deontay seems to be the only one competent now. Claypool's only good when they give him short screen passes or let him run. He had some good plays last game, but he's very inconsistent. I mean, our offense lives and dies with Najee and Freiermuth, which they need to get him the ball more.
Yeah, he's been good.
Yeah, he's been terrific, and he almost broke some rookie records as well for the Steelers and the NFL. I think he came up a little bit short, but he's going to be a gamer, man.
He made some great catches.
One thing I want to bring up last show, in the Browns game, Kendrick Green was hurt, so they played J.C. Hassenauer, or however you say his name, at center. And it was a difference. This is the first game of the season. Najee had 188 rushing yards. The line was doing really good, push back, giving Najee holes in the middle. Why has this guy been sitting on the bench all season? This seems like a massive oversight from the coaching staff.
Well, hey, now's the time to get it right. Now you got to go with the best players you got. So.
You do. It made a huge difference. And I found it interesting too. I brought it up a couple shows ago that we kind of crap on Kendrick Green as Steeler fans, and me especially. But then I thought, maybe he's being forced into a position that he shouldn't be playing. And Ben, in an interview the other day, kind of said the same thing. He brought up Moore. He said he thinks Moore is going to be a great left tackle, and he's the future left tackle for this franchise. And he also said he thinks Kendrick Green's got a good heart and good fight, and he would be really good at guard.
Yeah.
So I think Ben saw what I've been seeing, and that he's not a natural center, and that it was a mistake to put him there.
Well, maybe we can get more depth and
maybe
have somebody that can actually play and move people around.
Yeah.
future. So.
And the line's beat up now too. So I think health has a lot to do. I mean, the line's already bad. They're missing players. Health is going to have a lot to do with Sunday. Can the line hold, and can they get it Patrick Mahomes? So
It'll be tough, but hey, at least we get to have one game. I think the season's a success.
one more game. Let Ben have another playoff game before he's out.
Yeah.
What do you guys think in the comments? Is there any chance? What are you feeling? What do we need to do to win? What are your predictions? Harry, is it a win? Can we pull it off? Is it a miracle for number 7? The stairway to 7 for 7?
I would love for them to pull it off. I hope they can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how likely it is. I think it's a big hill. My guess would be no.
Yeah.
I would.
The only thing making me feel good is they got beat so bad by the Chiefs last time. I got to feel like everyone has a chip on their shoulder. Everyone's angry. Hopefully the Chiefs come in overconfident. Hey, we picked this team apart last time and nothing. And just the right set of circumstances for revenge come into play here. And everything goes right for the Steelers.
Well, the last time we played, I think that was Tyreek Hill's first game back after, I think he either had an injury or was out with COVID or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he really wasn't very effective, which is bad because now he might be. But at least we've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
So, you've been on the field with them. So hopefully we can adjust.
Yeah.
Give us a little chance. I don't know. It's the playoffs. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. One play could change it.
We've been the last seed before and made a run.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that we are peaking right now.
No. And it's funny too, because even after the Cleveland game, I was like, this team is good. This team going into the playoffs, and then the Ravens, we get the same team we've had most of the year. So
yeah, they show. I mean, the times we've surprised teams is because the defense has played out of their mind.
Yeah, and that's what has to happen. This has to be the best defense we've seen this season. I mean, we know what TJ can do. We know what Cam can do. We need to see Highsmith really have a breakout game, I think. He needs to get on, and our defense our secondary needs to have the best game they've ever played in their entire lives.
I mean, we've seen it. We've seen them put it together. I mean,
yeah. Briefly this season, we've seen moments where they've been shut down. Yeah.
They played well in the Packers for the first half, and I think after that bad call on the field goal block kind of got deflated and let the game get away from them in the second half. But they've played with those are 3 of the better teams in the league, and they've played with them.
We will find out very soon. Sunday will be here before you know it.
It's not unthinkable.
Yeah.
Here we go. See.
Let's go Steelers. We did it.
Sunday.
In other news, let's get to some West Virginia. I think a big loss. We've had a lot of losses in the transfer portal. Harry, you missed the Jarrett Deggy celebration show. He's gone. I think the biggest loss so far is a new one. Their assistant tight ends coach, Travis Trickett, is leaving to be offensive coordinator of USF. And as a coach on the field, I don't know how great he was, but I know for a fact he was one of their best recruiters. And he's done a lot of the hardcore recruiting. And I've seen on Twitter when a lot of these recruits commit to West Virginia, they tag him in the post as being thanks to Travis Trickett, thanks to Coach Trickett. So this, I think, is going to have an effect on recruiting, and I hope they don't lose any commits because of it.
Yeah, it's been, so I guess since the last time there's been good and bad news.
Mm-hmm.
Bad news, I mean, I don't know. Good and bad. Daggy's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody's going to have to step up immediately.
Yes.
Winston Wright's transferring to Florida State.
That one's tough. That was the worst loss on the field.
He was one of your best receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the most electric.
Yes.
But then we got two of our better defensive players coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's not good. I mean, I think a lot of teams are having problems with this portal stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think West Virginia's transfers are the same as some of these other teams there. I mean, these guys are like free agents now looking for money. Schools are basically just paying them.
Yeah. which we talked about very early in our podcast career. We mentioned how nil and the players getting paid would change things, and we're seeing it now. The transfer portal was going crazy, and it's early. We still got a lot of time left before September, so it could get worse.
I mean, it could be Oklahoma. Oklahoma lost all their best players.
And that's the thing too. A lot of people have pointed out West Virginia, I think, has lost a lot more than other teams. But a lot of West Virginia's losses have been players that weren't playing. Okay players that are probably getting replaced. And I think someone showed a number that at least half, maybe more than half, haven't even been picked up by anyone else yet or went anywhere yet. We have lost a lot, but some of the other teams, like you said, Oklahoma's been gutted, gutted. Yeah. On top of losing their coach. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know. I just hope Coach Trickett leaving doesn't have an effect on some of these new commits for the 22 class, because I know a lot of them were recruited heavy by him.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, just because you have a recruit commit doesn't mean anything. They could be gone in a year. If they feel like they're being held out, or the team doesn't look any good, or they're not going to get to play as much as they want, these guys could just leave.
Yeah, it sucks, but taking the side of the player, as a player, this is your only shot, right? If you're going to go to the NFL, this is it. You have to get seen. So no one wants to go to a college team and sit on the bench if you think you got any kind of shot in the world. So it's good for them in a way, but as for college football goes, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame them. I mean, if a coach can up and leave at any time, a player probably should have the right to up and leave. It creates other issues. I don't know. I can't tell you whether it's right or wrong. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm still making my determination about everything.
It's going to be different. We might not see, maybe it's good in the long run. We'll get more disparity with teams.
Maybe. I think it's going to affect the bigger schools, because, I mean, you got schools like USC and Texas, and these schools that have big boosters can literally just pay a player to come.
Yeah, and we will see that.
I mean, what was it? I saw something, Eastern Michigan, we're going to give Caleb Williams $1 million just to come there.
Yeah, imagine.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a player, it's great, and you make the money. I mean, it's good. I'm glad.
It is.
I'm glad that money that they're generating is going towards them instead of all to the universities.
Definitely, the players deserve it. I mean, they deserve to get paid, I think, with so much profit coming in off them. But I think it needs to evolve, and what will happen eventually, and what should is, I think there should be caps on some of this. I think it's going to be too crazy, and you're going to have universities throwing ridiculous amount of money to these kids. I think eventually there'll have to be some system where it's capped or monitored very closely what they're making, what they can make, because if not, it's going to get stupid.
Yeah, I mean, you could have large gaps between the top teams and the teams below.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're a player, you're going to go to the school that's going to pay you.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you're a college player, I mean, $100,000 is $100,000.
Yeah, and think of some of these players really getting paid. It's going to be nuts. Can you imagine being, 19, getting that money thrown at you?
Yeah, it won't take that much.
I would have died on High Street, Harry, if I had that kind of money. Life would have went.
Yeah, I think it also could create issues within the team. You have one guy that's makes $1 million on your team. The rest of you get nothing but the scholarship. I don't know. We'll see. This is the first year.
Ego's out of control. Egos is going to be a huge part of this, especially when you're young and you're immature and you can't control it. I would imagine that's going to affect things big time. I mean, you already see egos with some of these players. I hate to call any kid under the bus, but Spencer Rattler kind of has a reputation, right, for being kind of a bad teammate and egocentric. Imagine throwing $1 million at that kid where the rest of his team is not making anything or very little.
Well, he did. He was getting paid.
Yeah.
He had a lot of money going into the season, and there were rumors that was causing issues. But
I would imagine it would. It's going to get worse.
Oklahoma had 2 QBs, and now they have none. Both transferred out.
Yeah. So you still feel like Oklahoma's Oklahoma next year?
Yeah, I think they still have. They're in a different level in town. Texas might be interesting.
Yeah,
Texas got that really good QB, the transfer from Ohio State.
He
was supposed to be like the number 1 QB coming in this coming year, and
Yeah.
enrolled early, and ended up he knew he wasn't going to play because Ohio State has this other freshman, so he transferred. But he's supposed to be good.
I saw recently too. I can't remember his name. Another highly ranked QB. Someone let me know in the comments if you know who I'm talking about. Just decommitted, and he's got ties. I think he's from West Virginia, so people are like raising an eyebrow there. Could he come to West Virginia? I don't know. We got an opening maybe. Jared Dagey's gone. We got a QB battle going. Garrett Green, Nico Marchiol, Will Crowder, and maybe to be announced. So it should be interesting. Will Crowder, I've heard a lot of good things about him. I've never seen him play or know much about him, but some people are really hyped about him. We've seen what Nico can do. We feel like he's the guy and he's a gamer, but he's a freshman and he's going to have to battle with these guys. Garrett Green probably has the most experience. It's going to be interesting. Or you could bring someone from the outside.
It's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
I think Marchiol's probably the favorite. He hasn't even played yet.
I would think that. I mean, that brings up a point too. Jared Dagey transferring. I mentioned this briefly last show. I wonder if he let the fan base get to him. Did they get in his ear? Because a lot of people were blaming the fans for him leaving. A lot of people were giving the fans shit for that. Or could the coach have went to him and said, hey, this is our guy next year. Nico's our guy.
I don't think the coach told him anything, but I think he's aware that there's a competent QB coming.
Yeah.
And he, in his last season of eligibility, could end up sitting on the bench if he played bad. So I think it was a mix of the fans and knowing very well that there's a chance he may not be able to play the whole season. So.
Could be. I mean, the
Some
fact
people
that he
just don't wanna
left definitely
compete.
tells me there may not have been conversation that, hey, you're not the guy moving forward, but there's definitely conversation that, hey, it's not your job cemented in
Yeah,
stone.
I mean, they could have told him, yeah, I mean, it's wide open.
Yeah.
He didn't like that enough.
Definitely some kind of conversation had to happen. Unless Jared Dagey's just extremely more aware than we all think. And he's like, well, I'm not beating this guy next year. So I'm out of here. But who knows?
I think you got another issue. I don't know how big of a problem, and I don't know how much more we're going to see it, but I've seen it, the last 2 years is you get a young player that plays really well, really good, feels that they're better than WVU and can play for a better team, and they leave. You had Tyke Smith, he left and went to Georgia. Now you're seeing Winston Wright. Florida State really didn't have a great year, but it's a bigger school.
Bigger platform.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
well, that's another thing with the transfer portal going forward. You know, these mid-tier teams like WVU who are they're not bad. They're not great. They're right there in the, I would say, upper middle of teams. You know, is this a tryout for some of the bigger teams? These kids that come in that weren't good enough, you go to a team like WVU, you put a year or two of tryouts, and then you transfer when you get the resume, right? Yeah. So that could be a problem going forward.
That is an issue that could create more of a gap between the bigger schools and the lesser schools.
These mid-tier schools basically become development camps for these players that were kind of not big enough to make it. Hey, you're dead on there. That's 100% could be an issue that we've seen already.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what college football is like in 5 years.
Nico, please don't leave us. Don't come have a great freshman year and then bounce.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, you could see. I hope not.
One thing I've really liked so far, and this could change, like you said, you know, these players put on a good show in their freshman, sophomore year, and then Ohio State comes calling, or Alabama comes calling, or someone else. It could change, but one thing I really like about this 22 class, the way they talk on Twitter, they seem very committed to WVU, and they're talking about how they're going to be the team to bring WVU a national championship.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is you have to win.
Yeah.
We have to start winning. We can't be 6-6. Otherwise, these guys are going to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, if one thing is they won't leave if the team's going 10-2, 9-3, and competing for a conference championship or more.
Yeah.
But if the team's barely making a bowl and these guys are good, they're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's what we've seen the last 2 years.
Which a lot of that's on Neil Brown. I mean, you look at teams like Clemson that turned it around. You have to turn it around at some point, and you're not going to get the recruits until you do.
Got to win to keep these players.
Yep. Let us know what you guys think about that in the comments. How you feeling? What do you think of the QB battle? Who do you think's our QB next? Do you think it's a battle, or do you think Nico's the takeaway winner here? Let us know.
He's the favorite.
He's the favorite. A lot of people have been high on Will Crowder, though. So I don't know much about him, but we'll see.
I don't know. If it's really close, I could see them maybe just redshirting Markelle to give him another year.
Garrett Green's definitely got the experience, so he's got a slight edge there if they want to redshirt him.
There's not that big of a difference.
Yeah.
But then the other QBs are all pretty young, so I don't think you're going to sit Markelle for 2-3 years until he starts playing. So.
No, that's the thing. There's no senior QB here. I mean, it's freshman, sophomore, freshman, or sophomore, freshman.
We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Being interesting going into the next season.
The Pittsburgh Penguins win streak came to an end the other day, Harry. God dang. Yeah. They were on a 10-game win streak. Huh?
Lost to Dallas.
It's always Dallas, right? In Dallas. What a crappy town that place is. Terrible. Who would want to live there other than jokers?
In Dallas.
In Dallas. Nah, it's funny because, over the past decade, I feel like the Penguins have pretty much owned the West. There's a few teams that always give them trouble, though. St. Louis, the Ducks, and Dallas. They handled St. Louis the night before. Couldn't get it done in Dallas. And I think they play the Ducks next, right? Yeah, they play the Ducks next. So hopefully they can get back on the win streak. But they've been hot, man. They're the hottest team in the NHL after staying above water when Crosby was gone, then kind of hitting a tough little streak there. Now they won 10 games in a row. Their win streak ends. Jake Gensel's on like a 15-game point streak, 14 or 15-game point streak still. They're the hottest team in the NHL. And unfortunately, because of that rough start to the season, they're still in a wild card spot. But they've kind of separated themselves from the team below them. So it would be very unusual. They would really have to do something bad to not make the playoffs at this point. And you got Malkin, who may be back tomorrow or the next day. He's close. Any day now, he could be back. So could this be a year? A lot of people think this is a Stanley Cup team.
Hopefully, keep seeing improvement. Hopefully they keep maybe climbing, get another spot or two, get a home ice series, and
I got to get a new one of these.
By the end of the season.
This bugs me.
Yeah.
Let me hide that. One thing that's interesting is their Brian Burke, their head of hockey operations, kind of not their GM in name, but considered their co-GM because he was brought in with their new GM, Hextall. He said they're probably not going to make any moves. They're not going to be buyers at the trade deadline, which usually when a team's in this position and they want to make a run at the cup, they're buyers at the trade deadline. They want to add that piece to get him through. But he said, hey, we can't keep giving away assets. This team over the past decade has been giving away assets to make a run at the cup, and we can't keep doing that. So he said they're pretty much going to stand pat, at least not giving anything away big, which I think is a good thing. And I think, in the offseason, this is why a lot of fans aren't GMs, right? What did you hear all offseason? Hextall and Burke aren't doing anything. They're not making any moves. They're not doing this. It was very little moves. And now we're seeing that they're the best, hottest team in the NHL over the past month. And I think this speaks to sometimes the best move is not making a move, right?
Yeah.
And the biggest thing, what everyone was calling for after the playoffs was what? The Penguins need a new goalie, right? Jarry blew it in the playoffs. He did. He was not good at the end of the season. He was up and down all season, and he blew it in the playoffs. It was terrible. But Hextall stuck with him. He didn't make a move. He said, no, we're going to sit on him and see what happens. And now Jarry is like the third best goalie in the league. He's third in save percentage. He's fourth or fifth in goals against. He's, I think, third in wins, third in shutouts. He's having an all-star season. So sometimes the best move is no move. And that's why fans aren't GMs.
Yeah. Fans are too emotional. Can't overreact.
Very emotional, and I can relate. I can relate hard to that. But yeah, these guys are professional for a reason. One interesting thing, if the Penguins do win a Stanley Cup, do we see LeBron on the ice lifting the cup, Harry? No, he's part owner now.
Maybe. I mean, it brings good attention.
Does
Good
LeBron
publicity.
James' name get etched in the Stanley Cup? Would that be some shit?
Very well. I think you're going to hear him and the Penguins together in a lot of.
He wore the jersey on
articles.
Instagram. He had the jersey on.
Yeah. It's good for the Pens.
It is. It's good
Definitely
exposure. A lot of people were mad at it. They're like, take that jersey up. Guys, I don't know how you feel about LeBron, but he's the biggest basketball star in the world over the past decade or more. You know, he extends beyond basketball. He's a huge freaking star. And all of sports in this generation, would you say he's maybe top 3 most famous athletes in the world?
Yeah, I'd say top 3 outside of Ronaldo and Messi. LeBron's up there. I mean, in this country,
you watch soccer, football. I was thinking something completely different.
in this country, I would say he's probably the biggest star.
I was thinking probably like Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, LeBron over the past 2 decades.
I'd put LeBron probably over both of them. Maybe Tom Brady you could put in the same sentence. It's just different because in basketball, I mean, football, you don't see people's faces, but LeBron's been everywhere.
LeBron's huge. I mean, he was in Space Jam.
Since high school.
Extends beyond basketball. So to see him in a Penguins jersey, boy, if he was on the ice raising the cup or even in the stands watching a playoff game, that would be huge. And, as LeBron, who's one of the biggest, best basketball players of all time, there's debate. I still think Jordan's by far better. And I think people who think not have never seen Michael Jordan play or just too young to be in that era. I think Kobe's better, if we're being honest. You're very quiet. Anyways.
I'm not going to get into that argument.
But as LeBron, as a competitor, for him, it might be cool to say, hey, I'm going to put my name on the cup. Right?
Yeah.
You can point and say, hey, my name's in that sport too on their trophy. I did it.
I think there's way more upside with having him associated with the team than that. So
huge eyes. Yeah. You can bring big money to the team having LeBron as your, I don't know.
And I think you're going to bring a lot more eyes that would have never be looking at the Pens.
Yeah. Huge new audience.
A lot more casual fans and stuff
than
you would without them.
So for the future of the Penguins, get those casual fans, get some new fans. Let's get LeBron carrying the cup on the ice, guys. That would be something. I like it.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Other than that, man, leave your comments, leave your likes, leave your subscribes. You better go subscribe. If you're watching this, you haven't subscribed yet, go subscribe. Anyways, you can also follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Harry, we're on TikTok for some reason.
I guess Joe created a TikTok.
I gotta try to get these kids, I guess. That sounded weird. Cut that. Don't put that in there. Got to try to get the younger generation of fans interested in our show. So we're on TikTok.
Joe loves the kids.
No, sorry. Anyways, go follow us, H&J Talk Sports on all social media platforms. Guys, let's go Sunday, big day. Hopefully it's goes good. At least make it a close game. Hopefully we don't get a game like last time we played Kansas City. Harry, thanks for showing up, man. I hope we see you next Monday. We'll be waiting for you.
We'll see you again after the playoffs.
Yeah.
Playoff game. Another episode.
Good or bad, we'll be here.
Yeah, hopefully good. Maybe we'll make a run. Maybe we'll have to wear these hats throughout the playoffs. It'll be our good luck.
That's what we're gonna do. We won't take these hats off till the Steelers are out.
No shaving and we'll wear the beanies for the episodes.
Well, Harry's wife's gonna yell at him for that, but we'll do it.
Yeah, I'll get yelled at. It's okay.
No shaving and beanies. All playoffs. So we'll see you shaved and bald Monday. Just kidding. Let's go Steelers. See you guys next time.
Yeah.